Hello, welcome to this overview of our cargo trailer to camper conversion, which will give you a glimpse of the entire process from start to finish. Lloyd 3 is a play on the trailer containing about 10 cubic yards of interior space, so if you read the 1 and the 0 as an L and an O, you get Lloyd 3. This little camper is filled with features for getting out and enjoying the pleasures of wandering, just like a mini camper multi-tool. We're retired dual U.S.-Canadian persons living in Manitoba, but traveling often to the U.S. to visit family and friends. The types of places we might want to overnight include campgrounds, boondocking with some Forest Service roads, but no super rugged off-roading, and city streets and driveways. We've also spent plenty of nights in rest areas, Walmart and casino parking lots, and Cracker Barrels, one of my favorites. Climate-wise, plans are to adjust travel patterns to remain in relatively hospitable climates as much as possible, avoiding the very hot, the very cold, and the very wet. These days, there are more small, affordable campers coming available alongside the more traditional options. I actually love just walking around in a campground in the evening and chatting with people about the options they've chosen for getting out and enjoying this absolutely amazing planet that we live on. I've spent a fair bit of time traveling and just living out of cars with custom shelving units in the back when on my own. But for the future retirement travels together, we wanted to be able to stand up inside as well as wanting minimal setup when arriving at our destination. It seems that there's no single perfect travel solution that is the best for every situation. But differing travel needs are best met in different ways, and almost all options come with some strengths and some compromises. As much as we drool over those beautiful new Sprinter vans or Winnebago Echo compact RVs, affordability was also an important consideration as we head into retirement. We decided on a small camper along with the most fuel-efficient mid-sized vehicle that would reasonably pull it. For our vehicle, we chose a 2022 Toyota Rav4 Adventure or Trail Edition, which comes with a 3,500-pound towing capacity. It's been a fantastic vehicle for us. Unfortunately, when looking for a small camper to go with the car, we found them to be extremely scarce, pretty pricey, and/or came with a long wait time during the COVID pandemic. So we made the fateful decision to build out a cargo trailer ourselves. Recognizing how lucky we are to be able to travel so extensively, we also wanted to be as fuel efficient as possible to minimize our carbon footprint. Purchasing the trailer with a sloped V-nose, I had envisioned sliding along the highways like an AC-75 monohull sailing yacht from the America's Cup. But it actually feels quite a bit closer to a tugboat, and it cuts our mileage in half to a baseline of about 18 miles per gallon with no head or tailwind, even with our typical driving speed of 55 to 60 miles per hour. We've traveled over many western mountain passes without difficulty, but we definitely don't set any speed records on our travels.
To prepare the Rav4 for towing, we installed a Toyota tow package, a 7-pin receptacle for trailer brakes, an airbag suspension system, and an affordable tire pressure monitoring system for the trailer. To stay within the Rav4's 3,500-pound towing capacity, we chose a 6x10 all-aluminium trailer with a 6'6" interior height, an empty weight of 965 pounds, and a 3,500-pound GVW.
The trailer's torsion axle provides 9 inches of clearance, matching the Rav4's clearance, and its brakes work with the Kurt Echo mobile trailer brake controller. The trailer includes rear barn-style doors, a side RV door with a screen, 18 by 24-inch sliding windows on each side, and rear scissor jack stabilizers. A MaxxAir Maxxfan Deluxe was installed by the dealership.
I haven't gotten around to getting final trailer weights, but I'm pretty sure that I've at least doubled the empty trailer weight of 965 pounds by the time I finished here. The tongue weight I've attempted to keep at recommended 10 to 15% of the total trailer weight, and I think I've pretty well achieved that. The trailer handles really nicely behind the car. I can typically pull U's in most city streets. It can be difficult to find parking in some downtown city centers, as well as even some of the busier national parks, but the trailer's small enough that if necessary, I can even just back the trailer into a parking spot, drop it, and park the car behind it. The trailer does retain enough of a stealth feel that we can do overnight city street parking without problem. Even with the awnings and the solar panels, it has enough of an industrial work trailer feel that every time we cross the border, they assume it's a cargo trailer rather than a camper. So finally getting to the build out itself. I gotta say, I just absolutely loved the hundreds of, perhaps thousands of videos available on YouTube of these gorgeous build outs people have shared online. That is not what I was able to achieve. I was really focusing on something light, simple, and economical, often using materials I had laying around in the garage. The constraints of working within our 10 cubic yards of interior space, actually closer to 10 cubic meters, required meticulous planning for flexible spaces able to serve for multiple purposes. The first summer, we basically just made a couple of benches for beds in the trailer and have slowly added on to where we are now. Building out the trailer over a couple of years while using it during that time allowed for continual revisions and additions, which we still continue to do. Although construction is not my trade, I do have a fair bit of fix-it/construction experience throughout my lifetime. Given the amazing amount of online information available on specifics of how to carry out some of the build process, probably I would say my most important attribute was this perseverance. I always say that it takes me 3 or 4 times to get something right, and if something goes right the first time, it's likely because I made 2 separate mistakes that somehow canceled each other out. I typically estimate how much time a project's going to take me, and I triple that, and that's usually fairly close to the amount of time it takes. Building out the trailer myself, though, one of the best results of that is that I kind of know how everything went together. So if something needs to be fixed, then I can typically get in there and manage it. As far as necessary tools, in addition to a cordless drill, jigsaw, and reciprocating saw, I did use a small table saw and chop saw, which were very useful, but probably not indispensable. What I couldn't have gotten by without, though, was the patience and support of family and friends during the build process. I tried to buy locally as much as possible during the build, but I did purchase many items off of Amazon due to the ease of ordering online and having them show up such a short time later on the doorstep. When I first envisioned the camper build-out, I had thought that the installation process would be pretty simple and straightforward, but I quickly discovered that there are many varied approaches to insulating a van or trailer. I went down many deep dive rabbit holes on materials, reflective surfaces, airspaces, and the physics involved in heat transfer. I'll run through some of those questions in a future video, but for now I'll just outline the basic installation steps we took here.
All of the flooring and siding was taken off and then replaced following installation. The ceiling and floor ended up with some pretty fair insulation, although the trailer sidewall construction of 1-inch space did not allow for much.
Rigid insulation cutouts cover the windows and vent fan space on cold nights.
Overall, we're pretty pleased with the resultant insulation, and have camped numerous times in sub-freezing weather and snow and had no trouble keeping the trailer warm with our heater.
Hey, my name's Tanner. I help my dad with some of the electrical stuff on the trailer here, so I'm just going to do a really quick run through of the electrical components in the back of the trailer here. So essentially, we have electricity coming in through shore power at the bottom here. It runs through this main breaker. It's a 30 amp breaker, comes up through the electrical management system and runs directly into the inverter. This inverter charger is a 12 volt inverter with Victron energy. It's 2000 watts. And then from the inverter, it runs over here through some electrical in the behind the scenes here to our main panel. So this is our main electrical panel in the trailer. On the left side here, you see we've got a bunch of AC breakers. Those run to various outlets throughout the trailer. And then on the right side, we have our DC systems. That's lights, phone chargers, cooler. That's the main electrical panel. Our inverter here also is pulling energy from 6 solar panels on the roof. Each of those solar panels is 100 watts. And electricity from those comes in, runs through the DC solar switch here, and then runs down through this charge controller here. And from the charge controller, it eventually goes into the inverter, or that power will also go to, of course, 2 batteries that we have down here with our solar system. So these batteries are 100 amp hours each, and they've got a battery heater here as well you can turn on. And those batteries run up through, on the other side here, there's a battery disconnect switch that will eventually, the power eventually comes back up through to the inverter. This whole system is also controlled right on the other side here with a digital multi-control that kind of controls the whole thing. And I think that's pretty much it for a general overview of the electrical system. If you have any questions or anything, I'm sure that a video will come out with much more detail, because there's a lot more going on behind the scenes here. But that's just your general overview. Thanks.
Knock on wood, but so far the system works like magic and produces more energy than we need. It's been an incredibly freeing game changer when it comes to having the power we need wherever we're at.
Hi everyone, my name is Kaz. I'm one of the kids. I'm going to show you around the garage portion of my parents' trailer. Right here, we have a countertop that swings up. We have a dish tote, a hatchet here, vegetable grill, cast iron skillet used for around the fire. Some other key features we have is we have this bike rack here that swings into place once the bikes are mounted, locks into place. We have our bike lock stored here. Down here we have a step stool. Other key things we have down here is a backup propane stove, fold-up table for outdoor use, the Gazelle Pop-Up Pavilion, outdoor turf for when we're in dusty areas, and then right here we have a shower tent. One of the other main features that I love about my parents' trailer here is at the back, we actually have an awning on the back here. Once latched on, you could pull out pretty easily like this. Nice to use when we're outside, need some shade, or covers us from the rain. Other than that, those are the key features of the back here. Yeah, thanks.
The side awning extends almost as easily, although it does need legs to support it when fully extended. Let me take a minute to talk just a little bit more about these awnings, which were one of the final additions to the trailer. Although a 270-degree awning would have been fantastic for the way the trailer is laid out with side and back entrances, a review of these awnings by Playing with Sticks, which is a fantastic resource for reviews of all things small camper, suggested that stowing these by yourself in high winds can be quite challenging, especially with high-mounted awnings, such as ours is. So instead, we selected these Fiamma awnings, off of the side and another off the back. The ease with which these awnings deploy and restow is so great that we popped them out for use at the slightest whim, which so far has more than made up for missing the full 270-degree coverage. In a future video, I'll go over the installation along with a detailed review, but so far these awnings have been fantastic with a quality to match their hefty price tag. My next project will be adding some awning LED lighting.
Hey guys, I'm Brianna, another one of the kids. Here we've got our bikes mounted up nicely. Down below we've got some totes with storage, with miscellaneous tools and supplies. Here we've got our recent addition, the BioLite fireplace. Over here we've got our outdoor kitchen. We typically like to keep our water jug here in the corner. And then our induction cooktop stove right beside it. Down below we've got our Dometic cooler. Up here our mom's recently enjoyed baking after her retirement. So us kids got her this toaster oven for the road. Up here we've got storage space for our kitchen supplies with motion censored LED lights up top. And then we've added these screens with magnetic closures for when it gets buggy outside.
Hi everyone and welcome back. This is Kezzy again, and today I'm here with my husband Joe.
Hello everyone, and today we're going to show the interior of this trailer. The interior OSB and plywood the trailer came with were just sanded and finished to avoid adding extra weight. Following the insulation, furring strips were attached to the ceiling for anchoring shelves. As for our overhead lighting, we have a row of puck lights with a switch here, and then some dimmable RGB LED strip lights under and over the main shelving. The MaxxAir Maxxfan Deluxe with controller is nice, and rain coming in is never a concern. There is also a humidity gauge to help keep below 50%. On cold, windy or wet days, when cooking outside just isn't fun, or just for an evening snack prior to before bed, these brackets fold down for an interior kitchen counter. The induction plate then simply slides out, And now the kitchen, shelving and cooler are accessible from the interior as well. There is a table for extra counter space for eating and for playing card games. And it's also a plus to have a nice work surface with a view out the door.
For sleeping, the 4-inch thick Exped megamat 10 sleeping pads give a remarkably comfortable sleep. They're an open cell polyurethane foam and are 26 inches wide by 72 inches long. They can be deflated and rolled up for other uses like a kayak trip. The bed setup allows for 2 separate single beds that can also be combined into one larger bed. One of the trade-offs for small campers is that oftentimes bed space needs to be reconfigured each morning for interior living space, which can be a little bit tedious. When used in the separate beds configuration, the beds just double as seat benches during the day. If the person sleeping on the passenger side would like a headboard, this swings up just like this. When converting to the larger combined bed, first, extend the passenger side bed like so. Once we've done that, we pull out the 3 middle connecting sections. Cushions for down the middle are stored up here. And although not quite the same as sleeping under the open sky, when the side and back doors are left open overnight, it's still a pretty nice camping feeling.
Underneath the passenger side bed, there are 2 advanced element inflatable kayaks, which are fantastic quality. Next to that is a Propex Propane heater with exterior venting. It is mounted onto the side of a sealed interior propane locker, which also vents the exterior. The heater thermostat is here, with the hot air vent here. The heater does a great job, even on sub-freezing nights. On this side is the Gazelle Pavilion and the turf roll.
We considered whether to install some sort of fold-out elevated beds for additional guest sleeping in the trailer, but decided against it, particularly since it is typically only the 2 of us that will be traveling together. To make it as easy as possible for friends and family to join us though, we did invest in a Gazelle Pop-Up Pavilion, which triples our living space. We carry extra Exped sleeping pads and sleeping bags in the car. When the pavilion is closed up for the night, it stays quite warm, especially with the Mr. Buddy heater. I plan to add more detailed review of the pavilion in the future, but we'll just say here that it goes up and down quite easily, just like many online review videos show.
Here is an 8.5-foot aluminium collapsible ladder for accessing the roof, the lithium batteries, the shore power cord, the snap-together table, a couple of camping chairs, some totes with hammocks and miscellaneous camping gear like the propane lantern and Mr. Buddy heater, and our Burley Travois bike trailer. The overhead shelves are primarily for clothing. These wire baskets are lightweight and pretty useful. You can also see a few souvenirs picked up along the way.
Here we have the bathroom. We have a switched light here, plus a motion-activated LED bar for at night. This little IKEA corner shelf serves as kind of a catch-all with a liquor cabinet and bathroom and cleaning supplies.
For showers, we have an outdoor shower tent used with a water jug filled with warm water and a little rechargeable pump. In a pinch, there is also an indoor option with a small dog pool placed in this area and a shower curtain hung from the ceiling hooks up here. There are no exterior freshwater or gray water or septic tanks. This is a vented composting toilet with a sliding privacy curtain. The retractable projector screen is stored here along with the broom. Here's the sink with a hand pump attached to a 3-gallon water dispenser style jug. The sink drains into another jug down below here. In the corner are some hangers for jackets, and above the sink are more wire baskets and some clothing hooks. To the right, we have a charging station with a bunch of cords, as well as a shoe jail below. These shelves contain a variety of supplies, including a first aid kit, a hand vac, an expandable puck chair, and underneath are the trailer wheel chocks and stabilizers. Now for a quick safety tour, we include a carbon monoxide and smoke detector here, the fire extinguisher back by the kitchen with the fire blanket just around the corner, and the propane detector down low next to the propane box. A couple of other small fun features we've added include these glasses holders, magnets for holding phones, and collapsible cup holders. So that's the interior of the trailer. We've really enjoyed showing you guys around today.
If you have any further questions about what you've seen, please leave a comment down below.
I didn't keep meticulous track of receipts, but roughly tallying things up comes to about $23,000 US all in, or about $31,000 Canadian, with the trailer itself being a little less than half of that. Although it is a fairly simple and straightforward build in some ways, we did invest in some pricey components that will hopefully pay off in the long term. Costs and complexity could be cut down significantly by simplifying the electrical system with just a portable power station, for example, or swapping out some of the pricier items for less expensive alternatives. So the build was a lot of work, a lot more than I even imagined. Probably the hardest part of it was doing the research and trying to figure out what was the best way to do something ahead of time. And then following up the actual build was a little more straightforward. I'm a slow worker, and I would estimate that at maybe 6 to 8 weeks of full-time work to do the actual build out on top of the research that I did ahead of time. I could be completely off on that. Who really knows? I keep trying to talk my kids into doing another trailer for themselves. I think it would be kind of fun to do it now that I kind of know what I think is best on how to get some of that stuff done. And I think we could cut the work time by a fair bit as well, now that I've done it one time.
Thank you so much for watching these videos. My husband's done a fabulous job on putting this camper together for us. We look forward to seeing you on the road and wish you all the best.
If you see us, say hi and give us a tour of your travel vehicle of choice. We'd love to see it. Don't forget, we will be hoping to get some future videos up showing some of the schematics, the build process details on things like the electrical and the solar system, insulation, and some other components. So if you're interested in that, don't forget to
Like,
subscribe,
and hit that notification button.